Okay, so once we've finished annotating the text as we've done here, the next step is what to do with those annotations. And we're going to do this time is we're going to take these annotations and we're going to use them to help us fill out the organizer. So we're going to go to the first box of the organizer, the model. And this is where I'm going to model for you what you're going to do when you read through different sources, annotate those sources, and then complete the organizer on those different sources. So this will be an example for you to use of what you need to do when you get to these stages for yourself. So we have all our annotations here from this document. The first thing we're looking for in the model is the main idea. What was this text really about? So going back through my notes, going back through my annotations that I've written down in my document, I'm going to try to figure out really what was this text about and summarize it. Now rather than write right on here, knowing my handwriting and fitting it all in the box, I'm going to use my whiteboard table to help me figure out exactly what I want to write. So looking back to the document, what is this really telling me? I'm going to definitely take note that this is all about setting up the beginning of the trials in 1692 and everything that was going on during that time period. That's an important date because all of this information is setting up how they got to the point they were in 1692. So I'm going to put down for the main idea, in 1692, Salem encountered many tensions, because I know that was a key word at the bottom of this. And I'm going to look back through what were the main ideas of each paragraph. This paragraph was all about the spread of witchcraft, many tensions following the spread of witchcraft in Europe, because it followed them to America and their colony. This paragraph was all about tensions with the charter between England and their colony. So I'm going to put creating/establishing a charter from England, because England is who they're establishing the charter from. And then really all of this was very key in terms of the different tensions they're facing in Salem at that time. So I might want to put down as well as dealing with a smallpox epidemic. And I'm just going to do ... because I want to take the key ideas from this paragraph. So once I have it on my whiteboard, I'm then going to go through and consolidate it onto my graphic organizer. So you'll have your organizer here, and you can see that I have consolidated my first section right here, my model, to what I have here. So I wrote down, and I took all this and broke it down into, in 1692, Salem faced tensions due to changes in their charter, the spread of witch hunts in Europe, a smallpox epidemic, Native American attacks, family rivalries, and increased refugees. So all of that are the key ideas from this text. The next part of my organizer is asking me, okay, so based on the main idea, what circumstances would lead to later problems? How is all of this going to lead to the Salem witch trials and the 20 people that were going to be killed? So looking back over this, I'm going to erase my whiteboard and go to my next section. What is it that is going to cause all of these people to die? So I'm looking at over here, one of the key things that they're going to be worried about, religious tension, religious beliefs. That could be one thing that could lead to these problems, because they're feeling that their religious beliefs are not being tolerated. Another key thing that came up down here was discrimination. The tensions between Europe, or I should say England, and the Puritans, and the misgivings between them could lead to problems with them. Another thing that they're dealing with, especially in this paragraph, fear. They're afraid that their beliefs are going to be taken away. They're afraid for their lives based on the epidemic they're dealing with, the Native American tension. All of these things could lead to fear. So looking at these key things, I'm going to try to settle on one circumstance. And I thought that fear kind of goes with all of these. So on my organizer, you can see that I kind of took all of this and made it into fear as the key circumstance. So fear for their own survival, for their way of life and religious beliefs, could lead innocent people to act irrationally. This is one circumstance that could lead to the Salem witch trials. That's my prediction, my hypothesis. When you get to this box, there's not one right or wrong answer. It's you kind of brainstorming and using the main idea to help formulate what could be a key reason that the Salem witch trials are going to happen. So it's like you're a detective on the case and you're trying to piece together the motive, the reason why it's going to happen based on the information you've been provided with. The last section of your organizer is asking for you to gather evidence. So as a detective, if this is your hypothesis, my hypothesis is that it's fear, where in the article is the best evidence that is going to support your theory? So I went back through my article and I looked for places that really have to do with fear. And I saw that these two paragraphs are all about fear. This one is about fear of them losing their rights as a colony. And this one is really key because there's a lot of different elements that they're facing in their colony and where they're living that could also lead to fear and lead them to act irrationally and possibly lead to the Salem witch trials. So you can see that I went back, I marked it, and then I wrote down my best source of evidence. So the evidence I chose was that the Puritans feared, and I boxed that in because that goes exactly with the circumstances. It's not always going to have the same word there, but I was just lucky. The Puritans feared they were under attack again and were losing control of their colony. A feeling of uneasiness and discontent surrounded them. So I felt this best proves that fear could lead them to act irrationally. Fear could lead to the Salem witch trials. When you go on to your sources, you're going to come up with different circumstances that could help us figure out why did the Salem witch trials happen? Why did innocent people become either victims or villains? So you're really looking to gather your clues and gather your predictions as to why all of this happened. You're going to use your annotations to help you figure out what is going on. And you're going to try to think creatively and outside the box. Your evidence might not say exactly what your circumstances say. They might just tie together, and that's okay.